We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order for Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Bernatz. Here. Councilmember Lean.
Here.
Councilmember Porter. Here.
All right. Unless there's any changes to the agenda, we'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Katie, second by Holly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Before we get started here with our citizen comments, we've got a prepared statement that I'd like to read. I come before you today with a heavy heart as we address recent events that have deeply impacted our neighboring community of Burnsville and indeed all of Dakota County. We had initially planned to hold a swearing-in ceremony for members of the police department. However, considering the recent events, we have decided to reschedule this ceremony to another date out of respect for the lives lost and the wounded. Among the fallen were Officer Paul Elmstrand, Matthew Ruge, and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth. Additionally, Sergeant Adam Medlicott, who was also injured during the incident. This tragedy strikes close to home for all of us. Many of you have known these involved or played a role in providing aid and supporting during this time of crisis. As a community, we must come together to support one another in this time of need. The road to healing will be long, but know that Farmington stands ready to assist in every way possible. In honor of the three fallen public servants, and in recognition of the pain and loss felt by their families, colleagues, and communities, I'd ask that we observe a moment of silence. Moving on, our next item on the agenda is item 6, our citizen comments. If there's anyone in attendance wishing to speak, please feel free to do it this time. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, which is our consent agenda. We'd look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Nick,
Second.
second by Katie. All in favor, say aye.
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 Our first item under new business is 12.1, the resolution authorizing the submittal of a Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Outdoor Recreation Grant Program application. Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, or the DNR, announced recently several grant opportunities for park and trail projects across the state of Minnesota. These grants help local governments in the state create partnerships with the DNR to fund projects ranging from local parks to regional trails to trail connections. One of the grant opportunities, the Outdoor Recreation Program, was identified as a funding source and an option in the Rambling River Park Master Plan. Requirements of this grant is it's a 50-50 match up to 50% of the total project cost. This can be used for acquisition, development, and or redevelopment of local parks and recreation areas. The maximum grant award is $350,000 for a total project cost of at least $700,000. This program requires a one-to-one match, like I mentioned, which can consist of cash, value of materials, labor, and equipment usage by the local municipality, donations, or any combination thereof. Eligible projects include development of major outdoor recreation facilities on land owned by the applicant. There was a wide range of eligible recreation facilities, from campgrounds to sports fields to courts to outdoor pools. Permanent skate parks are eligible. Portable skate parks are not eligible. So any portable or movable ramp is not eligible under this grant opportunity. Support facilities can also be included in the grant application. This could include lights, benches, picnic tables, trash receptacles, walkways and/or accessible routes from one facility to another. Part of this application does require that there is an accessible walkway to the facility, whether it's a skate park or an outdoor pool or a campground. You do have to have an accessible route to it. That can be included in the grant application, like I mentioned. During the Rambling River Park master planning process, public and stakeholder engagement showed a strong desire for a skate park in the community to serve preteens and teens who have been leaving our community to go to other cities nearby us, Rosemount, Burnsville, to skate. And also I'm sure you've seen them downtown here, skating, scootering, biking. The approved master plan did include for a construction of a skate park at Feely Fields, where the small baseball field is right now, number 3, right next to the substation. That would be removed with a skate park put there. It was identified as a short-term project. The skate park has been the Park and Rec Commission's top priority behind the all-inclusive playground equipment at Rambling River Park. As you remember, the playground equipment was ordered in December. Installation should be done by July 15th of this year. At their January 10th meeting, the Commission unanimously approved a recommendation to the City Council to authorize the city's grant application for the Outdoor Recreation Grant Program for skate park and support facilities with matching funds up to $350,000. One of their comments was, the park system has so little for the teenagers, and it is a population that has fallen through our cracks. So this was their number 1 priority. Dakota County has retained the services of the HKGI to write the grant for the city. So there is no cost to the city for this service. I want to thank Dakota County and Lil Latham for this opportunity and recognizing this is an important project for our community. Applications are due April 1st. However, the DNR will review draft applications that are submitted prior to February 29th. It is a competitive process, so HKGI plans to have this grant submitted, draft grant submitted by February 29th, so we can get an initial review of what the DNR has to say. Funding will be announced in the summer. Projects are required to be completed by June 30th of 2026. So these are projects for 2025 and 2026. Not 24 projects. As mentioned earlier, this grant requires a 1-to-1 match for up to 50% of a total project cost of at least $700,000. Staff recommends using liquor operations community project funds in the amount of up to $350,000 for the match. Prior to starting on the grant application, I went to the liquor store and visited with Josh Solinger. I wanted to show him the Rambling River Park master plan, talk about the skate park, and using liquor operations funds for the project. Josh was in support of this and agreed to a roundup campaign as well. I think it was mentioned at the last meeting that there will be a roundup campaign in April for smoke and for Rambling River Park. I want to thank Josh, his team, and the community for shopping locally, which supports community projects here in Farmington. Thus, the action requested tonight is to adopt Resolution 2024-21, authorizing the submittal of a DNR outdoor recreation grant application for design and construction of a skate park and support facilities, and approve the matching funds of up to $350,000 to come from the Liquor Operations Community Projects Fund. And be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, ma'am. Katie, any questions?
Kelly, just remind me, because I know what you're looking for in the action is just the ability to go out and write the grant and go out for that. But obviously, if approved, we would move forward with construction. So remind me, I know like in-house baseball, travel baseball, none of them really use that. Field 3, is that mostly for like beer league?
No, Field 3 is the small field that is used by travel baseball.
It is, okay.
We would allow them to use Fields 1 and 2. We can move our T-ball programs to another field and let them have access to the bigger fields. Would have no problem with them putting up a temporary snow fence in the outfield. But it is used by, I think it's 10 U's.
Okay, so there is a flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously hearing from softball, baseball, you know, there is sometimes a need in season.
Absolutely.
For more space. But
Yep. We would move our program out of there.
Okay, just wanted to verify that the rest of that is all green space, correct?
Well, there's the 3 fields right there right now, and then basically green space,
Right.
gravel.
Right.
Yep, open areas. Yep.
No, I don't have any further questions. I'm excited about the potential, and I appreciate that you guys saw this opportunity and are coming to us for a recommendation, so.
Nick?
There were a lot of things to be excited about in there for me, I guess. I'm really happy to hear the Parks and Rec Commission acknowledge that there is a hole with the teenage age group. I think I've kind of felt that for a long time, and I think that it's nice to see that the commission is aware of that and wants to do something about it. I love that you're sticking to the master plan and you're kind of going after it and getting it, and I like the funding avenue you went after on this one too, so it's great to see all those kind of pieces come together, so. Do you know, have a rough idea of how competitive of a grant this is? Are you going to be going against
I know
other
last
cities,
year there
or-
was over $6 million dispersed, so we're hoping there'll be similar funds available. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be pretty competitive. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think that's that's why they give you the review of the initial draft.
Nope, we're doing all the things you'd like to see, so really excited.
Holly?
No, actually, I don't have questions beyond what's already been asked, and I'd have to agree with everything so far that's been mentioned. Timeline, the original timeline for the skate park, is that still what would be projected for this timeline as it relates to the grant, or does it move things up, or does it move things back? Where kind of was that in the master
That
plan?
was in 25 through 30, I believe.
Okay,
So
so we're
it'd
kind
be-
of right in the middle of it
Kind of
anyway.
right in the middle, because the initial was 24, 25 projects, and then the short term was 25, let's see, pretty sure it was 25, 30, 25, 30. Yeah, so kind of in the middle, with it being completed by June 30th, 26.
Good deal.
I guess the only question I have, and this might be a little bit premature, is that if the project has to be at least 700 grand, but the maximum is 350, 1-to-1, then the preliminary estimate that HKGI did was 500 grand.
Correct,
I
for the
assume
skate
that
park.
That the 200 grand, we can take care of, we're able to fill that with qualified expenses between the trails, the egress, the electrical, the outbuilding, the benches, the other things. We're confident that we can make up the gap between the proposed 500 and 700 for the grant?
Yep, I've seen draft cost estimates they put together based on today. They're 500,000 for the skate park, the trail, a shade structure, trees, benches, ADA picnic tables. Yeah, we're right at about $700,000 right now.
Okay.
And then you can spend up to 10% of the total construction cost for design and engineering. So they've included that in the 700,000 as well.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I appreciate it. We would look for a motion to approve we look for a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-21, authorizing to act as legal sponsor and authorization for DNR Outdoor Recreation Grant Program application for design and construction of a skate park and support facilities, and approve the matching funds of up to $350,000 to come from the Liquor Operation Community Projects Fund.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Holly, second by Nick. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Burnett,
Yes.
Councilmember Lean,
Yes.
Councilmember Porter,
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next item on the agenda is 12.2, our Community Development Department 2023 recap and 2024 goals. Deanna.
Thank you. So I have a presentation that I put together, and I'm excited to share with you our accomplishments from last year and really talk about what we have planned for 2024 in the department. But first of all, I think it's always good to remind everybody listening, what is community development? Because I don't think people truly understand what all we touch. And while we're not an essential service like police and fire and roads, we really do touch every development that happens within this community. So from the ideas and the dreams that our residents and businesses have through that entitlement process, and then permitting, and then follow up with enforcement, that all is encompassed within community development. So I'm going to walk through each one of the divisions and highlight a few of the accomplishments that we had last year and then talk about what we have planned for 2024. So we're going to start with community development. That is the overall arching umbrella that we all fit within the department. Last year was a whirlwind. We really did accomplish a lot. I was fairly new, and we spent time really getting our foundation in place. And so one of the first things we did was look at reorganizing the department so that it would align with the strategic goals of the council. And with that reorganization, we added a planning coordinator and an economic development coordinator to the department. And they have been fabulous additions and really great people to work with. We also brought to the council this idea of doing a community vision as part of the update to the comprehensive plan. The importance of doing that community vision on the front end was it helped create, again, that foundation, that roadmap for which the comp plan was going to be built upon. And so there was a lot of public engagement involved with that, and a really exciting opportunity to get out and talk to the community about what they see. Again, we were driving the future of this community together. We also did our first redevelopment TIF district in years, maybe ever, working through an important step to educate the council on what a TIF district is and how they work, and the importance of utilizing that tool in order to facilitate this addition to our downtown, this very exciting addition, which is the Emory Apartments. We also applied for a redevelopment incentive grant through Dakota County to support that project, and we received a $250,000 grant. That helps with some of the cleanup. If we all remember, that was a redevelopment project, so a building was torn down, lots of things discovered underneath the soil, hidden to the human eye without digging, and those dollars have helped to offset some of those expenses. We also reinitiated the Green Step Cities program. We haven't talked about this in years, and I think the last time the city had activity within that was in 2012. And so we worked with Green Step Cities and started to reinitiate that process, and you'll hear more about that as we move into 2024. So the goals for this year from the Community Development Department is the continuation of the Green Step Cities program. And again, moving through those steps, we'll be coming back to the council to talk about that. We're looking at placemaking opportunities. Placemaking is a way to really make a place something people want to experience. And so we have ideas, and we're looking at grant sources that will help us really enhance what we have. Also provide better connections between, say, our parks, our facilities, the downtown, parking, all those kind of things. So that's some of the stuff that we're working on, and we're also just constantly looking at ways that we can enhance community outreach and customer service through the department. The next department within community development is economic development. This is my passion. This is what I love to do. This is what I get super excited about. And in 2023, we accomplished so much, and I'm so excited to be part of what we've been able to do. We looked at the funding sources that we have for economic development. They're quite limited. And we looked at, well, what can we do with the dollars that we had in the 2023 budget to make sure that we're leveraging it and making an impact on our community? So we reevaluated the various different funding programs that we had available, and we created a new microgrant program. And the idea behind this was, how can we meet businesses where they're at? So dollars were dedicated towards it, and we were able to allocate 4 different microgrants within the community to eligible businesses to really help them with tangible things to grow their business. So we were excited about doing that. We also established the first ever Economic Development Authority levy. So we will have as of right now, we have a dedicated funding source that's going to allow us to continue to grow the activities of economic development. We also launched and developed this Unexpectedly Bold campaign, which is how we market Farmington. This was organically developed because we started to show up places and it was unexpected. And people started to say, oh, I didn't expect to see Farmington here. And we knew that based on the council's direction, we needed to be bold. And so it just grew into this Unexpectedly Bold campaign that has really been impactful and memorable and authentic. So that's been really fun to use. We've enhanced our visibility. I threw a bunch of acronyms up there and I don't expect you to know what they are, but we're active in the Minnesota Real Estate Journal. We're active in the Community Venture Network group with the Chamber and through the Minnesota Marketing Partnership. This is how some of the avenues that we're using to get the word out that Farmington is a place to be and that we want to share that with people. And then last year alone, we met with over 20 unique and different developers and site selectors that hadn't worked in Farmington. And we worked on over 50 projects and prospects with various different prospects over the course of the year. So that's a lot of things that we did, which is really excited. A lot of things we can't talk about, which I know you hear us say all the time in those Economic Development Authority meetings. But things are moving and they're in the works. And we hope that we'll be able to be bringing these projects forward to you very soon. This year, we're going to build upon that momentum. We're going to look at developing some new programs. Again, figuring out where we can use our limited resources to be as impactful as possible with our business community. We're enhancing our marketing through all those acronyms I already talked about, plus a new one that we threw up there, which is the Site Location Partnership, which is an organization that's allowing us to have more of a national footprint and the ability to reach a larger audience. We're super excited as well about the My Town docu-series that Farmington has been selected as one of the communities to be part of. And we'll be rolling this out this fall and having a launch party and a lot of different events to share this great way of telling Farmington's story and highlighting different individuals within our community. We're also going to be kickstarting business resource events, looking at how we can look at cohorts of businesses, because again, a one-size-fits-all model doesn't work. But we want to be able to make sure our existing businesses know that we are here as a resource. And then of course, we're looking at other things such as site readiness, implementation of the community vision, and land activity, just to name a few. And I don't want people to think that we're not also looking at a grocery store. That is one thing we hear about all the time. And while it's not on my list, we've talked about how everything is a puzzle and it takes all these pieces coming together. So the things that we are working on and the things that we are doing ultimately will help with that story as well. Planning and zoning, a lot has been happening in that department. We are so fortunate to have Tony with us on this team. He has longevity, he has this knowledge base that he brings to the table every single day, and he's really great to work with, and he's very passionate about what he does. And so under his leadership, that 2040 comprehensive plan update has been kicked off, and it's in the works. And so just last week, the future land use draft was presented to Planning Commission, and we'll be having conversations with the council about that moving forward very soon. They also have been involved in housing developments. There was 2 new subdivisions that were approved. The planning department had a huge role in the Emory apartment project. They processed CUPs and PUDs, and then also various different ordinance updates and zoning code amendments to make sure that our code matches what we're doing and making sure that the language within our code doesn't contradict itself. This year, we'll be finalizing that comprehensive plan, which we're super excited about. Again, that is the roadmap for this community, and a lot of effort and thought is being put into that. And we are doing this as a reminder on an off cycle because it's so important. We need to make sure that we're planning all those land uses and then the infrastructure and everything that goes with it to set us up for success. We'll continue to look at zoning code updates to support the comp plan. And then just the planning department has a huge role in supporting development and redevelopment efforts that we're also focusing on. A couple meetings ago, Josh Lawrence, our new building official, presented this information to you, which is the accomplishments from 2023. Again, we had $31 million of valuation that cycled through the department when it comes to permits. There was well over 6,000 field inspections and 421 plan reviews that happened just last year. This year, with the retirement of Sue, who was a longtime employee, we also looked at the needs of the department, but specifically the building division. And so we'll be adding a building permit technician to support that department. We'll be implementing Acela, which is a new building permit software, which is also a really great way for us to streamline our operations and find efficiencies. We'll be reviewing our fees in conjunction with the rollout of that new software. We're updating handouts, the handouts that are most used by our residents and contractors. And then we're also looking at new and better ways to use the website to serve our residents and contractors. So that's what we've been doing. And I thought about putting just our headshots on here, but that's not who we are. We come to work every day. We love doing what we're doing. And so this is just a snapshot of some of the people, some of us in our environment. We have our new inspector that you'll meet coming up at an upcoming meeting. So we have our building inspections team. We have Tony and Jared. Jared's our planning coordinator. Tony, of course, our planning manager. Steph Amon is our economic development coordinator. And together we work every single day. We laugh, we enjoy what we do, and we work the hardest that we possibly can for this community. So we're excited to be part of it. Thank you for letting us do this work. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, ma'am. Katie?
I don't have any specific questions. I just know that we are so excited to have you on the team because regardless of content within your job, regardless of resources that we have in Farmington, regardless of location challenges with grocery stores, all the things that come at you in Farmington can also be some of the things we love about Farmington. But what brings that to life for me is you and Steph and the whole team, your passion, your drive to do this. And so you really have brought this whole department really to life for me in a different light than I had seen it in my previous 3 years. And so it's been really exciting to work with you both on the EDA and council to move a lot of these projects forward. Some of them come to fruition downtown and hopefully a grocery store eventually, but obviously the understanding of what it takes to get to that point, some of the talking points to come to residents with have been just so helpful. And understanding it myself. And, obviously as a family of 7 myself, I would love to see that. And there are certainly challenges with location and getting here, there, and everywhere with groceries. So, but I just appreciate all the work that you and your team have put in. And I hope that they're either watching or you take that back to them and let them know that we really appreciate that. So thanks, Deanna.
Thank you.
Nick?
I'm going to pick on a weird one, I guess. I remember 2 years ago, Lynn and I were sitting in Duluth when they were doing the Green Step Awards, and Lynn made a passing comment that we're nowhere even close to that. So to see that on that shows me how far you guys have come and where we've come in 2 years, just getting that ship kind of put together. So it's exciting to see that things that were not even close to being on the radar before are just top of mind now. The ducks are in a row. Let's keep it moving.
Thank you.
Holly?
Your excitement is contagious. The end. No, truly, it is. It's a great time to be watching, like a little fly on the wall, all of the fun things that are happening as much as we do get to know about, and the excitement for things to come. It's just contagious. That's it.
We talked the last few years about the domino, right? We needed the domino to fall. We needed the thing that started everything else behind it, that frankly showed that we could do it. And community development and economic development is 80% prep and planning. It's 20% implementing, right? And that's the hardest thing for residents and people outside of the process to see is you look and you see a whole bunch of open land and you just say, I just don't understand it. And because there's a lot into it. It's future land use, it's the infrastructure, it's proper zoning, it's all of the things that lead up to it. It's not just the site readiness. And even when you have all that, you still need a transaction to take place. That domino for us started with diversifying the housing, and then it was the Emory. And I think people miss or are undervaluing what that project means in the grand scheme of our ability to be successful in economic development. Because there's so many different layers to it, and a lot of communities shy away from it. And your team put that together. It's refreshing, it's invigorating, and it's knowing what's on the horizon, even through all the NDAs, right? Knowing what's there. We're not that far. It's there. Like, and 24 is going to be our year, and we couldn't do it without you and your amazing team. So we appreciate you through and through. Thank you.
And we're excited to do this work every single day, and it's really encouraging and special to work in an organization where we're supported the way we are through the leadership structure and through the council. So with that, thank you, and thank you from our team.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, our next item on the agenda is 12.3, which is our Public Works 2023 annual update. John.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. So first of all, you'll see a drastic contrast in presentation styles between community development and public works. And I intentionally requested that community development go before public works because we're an extension of their team. We support community development. So the subdivisions that were mentioned, we review all those subdivisions. So the building permits, single family building permits. We review the certificate of a survey working through Bluebeam, which is a great system. It's working very well for us. We go out and inspect the grade. We go out and inspect the final grade. So for every house that's built, every unit that's processed through community development, engineering plays a role in supporting that. That includes not only the development itself and the review, but following up on the infrastructure. So administering the development contracts, the sewer, water, the storm sewer, roadways, the whole system, we're responsible for ensuring that that meets the expectations of the city. So we're really an extension, particularly engineering, of the community development efforts. And I've provided, hopefully, a listing as I get into it of not only big things that we've completed, but also kind of the day-to-day stuff that forms a background for everything that we do. So when we get asked to do something, we get all this other stuff done at the same time. We don't, we have to allocate resources and turn on a dime. Similar to police and fire, public works is 24/7, 365. So a lot of the names that you see here, this is the public works staff, through being on call or through, snow and ice control or other activities, are working those weekends and those early mornings and things like that and responding. So we do have 8 public works maintenance workers, and we're very thankful that with your support, we'll add 2 maintenance workers in 2024, and we're thrilled about that. Glenn usually manages the day-to-day allocation of the resources. Damon and Ron are a great team for our mechanics. Damon's the younger, Ron's more of the seasoned veteran, but they're a great combination. They're both very enthusiastic. And Damon, particularly the item that you approved earlier on the consent agenda, the cartograph OpenGov software, they're very excited about that. We're really pumped to implement that, start tracking that data, driving the dashboard, and having metrics to provide to you, because we expect to be questioned whenever we ask for something. We need to make the case. And we're making sure we have all the information to make the case if we ask for something. Steve's our street and utility supervisor, and our senior administrative support technician, Carissa. You've not seen much of her because she's been on military assignment, and that was extended. GIS specialist Danielle was added in 2023, and she has just hit it out of the park. Citywide, not only in public works, but also in other departments, has been a great asset, and I think it's the best decision we ever made to change that engineering technician to a GIS specialist, because that's really taken us forward. Ed is our natural resource specialist, and he is a new father now. And so he just returned today after a couple of weeks off, but he is out there day to day working with the crews, and a lot of the public works maintenance workers are doing tree removals now that we haven't had a lot of snow and ice, so they're getting a lot of production with tree removals. Not as much the trimming, but the one-cut prunes where they're just taking the tree out and we'll get the stump later. Rich, engineering technician, has been around for 35 years. He is our comparable to Tony. He's kind of our person that knows the background, so if you ask about something, he knows where to look for it and where to find it, and provides nice flexibility when it comes to administering construction contracts and construction. And then I'm on the bottom there. Staff changes, GIS specialist position. I mentioned that. That was a great move. I feel I'm a genius for making that move because Danielle has done so well with it. We had one Public Works seasonal, Bryce, who did a great job for us this past summer. And because of Carissa's extended military assignment, we've had 3 temporary front desk people. Melissa's out there now and she's doing a fantastic job. We also took the assistant city engineer position, and we're currently advertising for a water resource engineer because when we looked at the future and we looked at the city needs, a lot of it was focused in the water resource area, stormwater pond management, MS4 permit administration, things like that. And I already mentioned the new public works maintenance workers. So we have several service areas, streets, which include snow and ice control, potable water, sanitary sewer, stormwater, fleet, solid waste, which we don't actually do the hauling, but we administer the contract with DSI, engineering, GIS, and natural resources. So I've tried to select in some accomplishments, kind of a combination of things, big things, small things. So one of our biggest items in 2023 was implementing the pavement management software. And that's really set the tone for planning ahead and looking at doing things a new way. We've established a traffic safety committee to research and respond to public inquiries, and that will be a key group when we look at that speed limit revision process. A lot of that will go through the traffic safety committee, which is a staff committee from a variety of departments: police, fire, planning, engineering, public works. We completed the Aiken Road improvements and the 2022 street and utility improvements, which carried over from the previous construction season. We had our first annual snow day with all public works staff, so that was a day to, well before the snow flies, to go through all the equipment to make sure things are operating properly, that we have what we need for success. And it's also, they drive their routes and look for basketball hoops were big this year. A lot of basketball hoops in the street. Danielle developed an app to track basketball hoops. So right on their phone, wherever they're at, they hit the app and there's a basketball hoop recorded. And then we follow up, working with community development to provide code enforcement letters. Hey, please move it out of the street. We don't want to damage it. Also on snow day, we look at the iron, the gate valves, the manholes to see if there's any hazards to our plow drivers. We completed 15 in 2023 only, 15 full winter maintenance events and 16 salting events. And we replaced 252 street signs. The city's required to have a roadway sign management program consistent with the MMU TCD, the Minnesota Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. I can throw around acronyms too. And so we, on an annual basis, replace street signs, regulatory signs. We delivered almost 835 million gallons of water to city customers. Think about that. Our authorized maximum is 1 billion currently, based on our approvals from the DNR. But you think of what it takes to do that, pulling it out, you know, the wells, doing all the regulatory compliance for that, putting it in the system, putting it through the system delivering it, curb stops, corp stops, everything working, so when the faucet's turned on, the water's coming out. But we think that is a major accomplishment. We didn't have any issues. We had 1, maybe 2 breaks with very short-term outages. We initiated updates to the water and sewer system electronic models. So in anticipation of the comp plan update, we needed to update the models to reflect our current system. We did evaluate options for repairs, and we actually now bid the replacement of the OL5 retaining wall. We flushed 1,350 fire hydrants. Every year we're doing that, part of the maintenance system maintenance. After soliciting input from all public works staff, we purchased a new vac truck for maintenance of sewer and water, and that's a very expensive piece of equipment. And that's why we want to get everybody involved. Anybody who might be using that piece of equipment, we had the equipment out there. They could walk around it, they could look at it, they could talk to the vendor, ask questions. Hey, does it do this? Does it not do this? See what features it has to make sure we're getting the right piece of equipment for our needs. We supported preparation of the multi-year utility rate study, and finance led that effort. We cleaned a little over a mile of sanitary sewer and televised about 12,000 feet. In the Farmington Industrial Park, we've got a detailed study underway to look at the flooding in the roadway. And that flooding will likely be a combination of various things. Middle Creek, which it drains to, once that fills up, then it starts backing up into our system. Drainage easements, maybe not adequate ponding based on standards 30, 35 years ago, or the drainage easements in the wrong place, where maybe we need to go get some drainage easements as part of the solution. We completed 3 citywide street sweepings. That's really part of our storm sewer management effort to keep the dirt, pick up the dirt before it goes through the system and into the ponds. The fleet asset management software, you acted on that this evening. Thank you again. Feasibility report for a fuel island at the maintenance facility. That's one where we were going to use ARPA funds, but we kind of pivoted based on where the costs were coming in, and we're pursuing a salt storage shed versus a fuel island now. The other part of that is Dakota County, their facility on 50, they were going to be transitioning to another facility, and that's been pushed way back, it seems. So there's no sense of urgency for the fuel island. We support CIP discussions, primarily Parks and Recreation and Public Works, but also police and fire as needed. We did many turnovers of police and other vehicles, so particularly when we're leasing, it's the lights and the radios, it's all the internal materials that make it a squad car and usable. And so when we turn one of those in, we take the equipment out and then we put it in another one. And so those are the turnovers that we're referring to. Did our first annual review of the solid waste agreement with DSI. One item that was not terribly popular with the public, but I haven't had a comment in months on this. We removed the cardboard recycling at the central maintenance facility, and that's after we just had shortly before that removed the recycling facilities here near City Hall. So people have found other locations, or they're doing it at their businesses or residents. I already talked about the GIS specialist position. We did a number of updates on a variety of apps, thanks to Danielle. We set up the engineering professional services consultant pool. That's been huge with what we have to get done. It saved staff a lot of time and effort to get projects underway. We administered 125 right-of-way permits. So whenever a private utility wants to do work in the city right-of-way, they have to get a permit. That all goes through the Dakota County permit system. Engineering staff reviews those and then processes them and forwards information to finance, because there's permit fees related to all those. And that includes weekly coordination meetings with HBC, because they're the permit holder for a lot of the work that was done in the city this year. 148 lot survey reviews. EAB management, we had a lot of discussion on that, and we'll be providing an annual update to you at the April work session on where we're at with EAB management. But as of this writing, we had taken out 375 trees. That's gone up because Public Works staff has been out there making great progress in ash tree removal. And trimming 570 trees and 449 stumps removed. And we applied to the MPCA and are serving as a host site for a Green Corps member that's out at Public Works. So looking ahead to 2024, bituminous pavement management will continue to be very important, not only implementing our 2024 street improvements, getting the mill and overlay areas done, but also initiating our 2025 improvements earlier, so we have more time to get the topographic survey, geotech, televising done. We're going to review all our maintenance methods and processes. Some things we've done. A lot of cities, like for instance seal coating, you don't see a lot of cities doing seal coating anymore because there's other methods for achieving the same. There's thin overlays and things like that. Spray patching is something we've done in the past, recent past. Based on our evaluation so far, that might not be something we do in the future because we're seeing a lot of the aggregate peeling off, and that creates, it's getting tracked, you know, just like the old seal coat aggregate used to. And maintaining our current pavement rating, so we'll be out there updating some of that data in 2024. So Public Works, even though we have all these individual service areas, we want to prepare essentially a Public Works manual, which includes our goal. What is the goal? Say it's street sweeping. What is our goal? What is the process we use to get there? And what metrics are we tracking that we can report back to you? So that provides consistency, and we'll be looking at the engineering guidelines also, but part of that consistency is also, that's a document where if a resident or business wants to see why we're doing something or what we're doing, they can look at the Public Works manual because it's all described right there. In Public Works, we're not used to doing that a lot. We just, you know, a lot of times they really focus on getting things done. You know, it's day-to-day reporting and water testing, plowing, you know, tree removal, whatever it is, sweeping. But we're trying to be more intentional and kind of have a operating system for all of Public Works. So that's a big lift in 2024. And then updating the infrastructure elements of the comprehensive plan, which follows right along in what Dan was talking about. And with that, thank you again for your support over the past year. I and other staff really appreciate it. You're giving us the right tools, the right resources to get things done, to meet your expectations and the strategic goals that you've set. And we're very appreciative. It does not go unnoticed, even though I'm the one you see here. Everybody notices when something gets replaced in a timely manner, and they're certainly going to notice when our new Public Works maintenance worker, Isaac Scherbel, starts tomorrow. He was so excited. He said, "How soon can I start? Can I start right after well, no, the next day you can start." And so he's ready to hit the ground running, and then we'll have another one starting in April. So we're very excited about those two joining our staff.
Thank you, sir.
With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No specific questions. You're very accessible for those when we come across them. So one thing I wanted to note was your use of the word metrics, and that is probably, if I was narrowing it down, I'm like, man, what else have you done this year, John? You haven't been busy at all, right? 2023 accomplishments just keep coming at us, right? So I was, the pavement management program, tackling EAB, letting us know what the staffing needs were, really just streamlining the process so that we have all of that information in front of us, so we have data-led decisions being made. Mm-hmm. We're not haphazard, we're not making reactive decisions, we're being proactive, and you're able to take each of these areas and just streamline that process. And I mean, impressed is an understatement, really it is. We're so thankful to have you and your team, excited to see the passion that these new employees bring. Yeah, no questions. I just appreciate everything that you're doing. It's really all-encompassing, and it's a tangible effort that the community is seeing and going to continue to see for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Nick?
I guess there's just too many bullets to go through them all again. I mean, it's fantastic to see it. I guess just one comment that I guess if you catch Ed dozing off, try not to judge him too hard, right? Those first few months are rough. But no, I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Holly?
There's a word for you too, and I think it's intentional. Everything that you do with intention. And I love that because I feel like we get to turn on our water faucets, we get to drive down the roads, we get to walk on the paths, we get to bike, we get to do all of these things in our community, and we don't give a second thought to them because of the work of this department, right? If I can flush my toilet and I don't have to think about it, if I can get water out of the tap and know that it's clean and safe for us to drink and I'm not thinking about it, that doesn't happen just by magic, it happens by intention. And everything that you've shared today is a reflection of the enormous amount of intention that you have in the way that you do your work and the way that this team does its work, and just so grateful and excited. And yeah, I mean, it's a good time to be in Farmington, man. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned paths. Parks and Recreation takes care of the paths, so I don't want to slight our teamwork effort when it comes to snow and ice control. So
I only have one question. Why does Rich drive the oldest truck?
well,
Does he just refuse to give that up?
I've given him a little bit of a hard time
Okay.
about that. That he wants to drive it until he retires at some time in the future, but. It's our goal to replace that. He likes it. Rich will be getting a new truck in the next couple years, but he doesn't mind at all.
No, he doesn't.
He takes great pride in it functioning for so long and serving him and the city so well. So
When we get rid of it, let's put his name on a door and give him the door.
I think we'll have to get a red truck so Rich can find his truck. So it's
Real quick, no other questions other than just to echo what my peers have said, right? I mean, this is the department that has so many moving pieces that I feel like the data is always going to drive the best decisions, right? And not having adequate to make well-informed decisions doesn't work. And we see that with the PCI, right? We now are able to lay out a plan because we're dealing with known conditions, not just what we think we need to deal with. EAB, tracking our progress, looking at what we thought we could do in a year's time versus what we're able to do, and pivot with that schedule accordingly, all at the end of the day meeting our residents' needs and achieving that goal of meeting industry standards for infrastructure. And we're doing that at lightning pace, and it does not go unnoticed. So very much appreciated to the entire team and to every aspect of Public Works and what they do for our residents. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'd stress again, I'm the one you see, but it's this whole team that's getting things done, and I don't have any success without their success, without them doing their work well. So thank you.
Sorry, I guess I did have one question that I thought of. I wasn't aware that we were actually doing the fleet turnovers for the police and fire. With that switch to basically all of those going to a 2-year turnover model, that's going to pick up that work pretty significantly, I would imagine then, right?
Yes.
Is that currently being done by the mechanics?
It's currently done by Damon and Ron do those. And we'll be working with police and fire whenever we have a turnover. We're kind of gathering information on how long they're taking, and usually after they do the first one, the ones after that go a lot quicker. And it's a matter of what I've heard so far. It's a matter of expectations with regard to timing. Don't provide them all at once. Provide them over time so they can fit them into their other schedule of maintenance activities. So it's not just slammed all at once. And so we've been able to, Ron and Damon have been able to keep up so far. But we will be looking at that and having a conversation with police to see if there's something we can do to level it out a little more.
Is that balanced out at all by the fact that you have newer vehicles not requiring as much maintenance, or
That's part of it.
kind of tough to tell?
Yep. Mayor and Council, that's part of it. If we're not having to do the long-term maintenance on some of those, that frees up some time to do the turnovers. So
I guess I'll leave it to trust to you that if it does become a problem, don't be afraid to ask, right? So, that's all.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, roundtable. We'll make it easy on the camera crew tonight, and we'll go left to right. So Leah, you'd start.
Perfect, thank you. I guess to start, it's really cool just seeing these presentations and the very little I see and do in supporting those two teams doing this great stuff. Sometimes it's email in, email out, so it's nice to see, you know, presentation and stuff. I guess just a little bit of like legal education. I'm not a prosecuting attorney. I am the city attorney for Farmington, and my office, Campbell Knudsen, does do the prosecuting for Farmington. And those that might not know, anything from misdemeanors to gross misdemeanors in a metro county like Dakota is taken care of by the city attorney, and then felonies are taken care of by the county attorney. So just a little education.
Legal 101. We
That's
like
right.
it. Nick?
I guess I just wanted to say thank you to Gary and your officers for always showing up, even when it's the hard ones. So it doesn't go unnoticed.
Holly?
Yeah, that. You know, as a resident, it's been an interesting week because it's just one of these things that you kind of take for granted. I feel myself that people are going to be safe and that, you know, the work that's being done by our first responders is absolutely necessary, but this is one of those weeks where it comes right in front of your face and you realize how important these people are to you, both personally and in the jobs that they do. I just, thank you.
Katie?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're in a public service capacity and you put on the uniform and you go out and you don't know, right? And your family doesn't know. And so, I'm sure I can speak for our whole team, our deepest condolences to the families of the fallen in the city of Burnsville. You also have this beautiful camaraderie and family that comes around you when you're part of these departments. Watching that unfold in the wake of tragedy is phenomenal, and thank you for covering them. Thank you for standing watch. Thank you for just coming around them as a community, because people don't understand the trickle-down effect of grief when people are in these positions where they are putting their life on the line. And so we just, we stand with them. Our prayers and our thoughts are with the city and with all the teams that are affected. And for people like my brother-in-law that are part of SWAT and we're on the scene, I mean, we can't say thank you enough. And so giving everyone space, time to heal, and time to come together as a community is so important. So not to put you on the spot, but if there's anything we can do for our departments, same would go to Justin if he's watching. If there's anything that we can do specifically for you guys, you're going to say there's not, but we're here if there is. So thank you.
Lynn?
No comments.
Shirley?
Just an election note, 2 weeks from today is the presidential election primary, presidential nomination primary. Polling sites will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you're unable to vote on election day, you can vote absentee at City Hall or at county offices. City Hall will also be open on Saturday, March 2nd from 9 to 3 and on March 4th until 5 o'clock p.m. So,
Thank you, ma'am. Julie?
I have nothing tonight.
Deanna?
In light of the tragedy and honoring the fallen, I also will hold my comments this week. Thank you.
John?
As will I.
As will I.
Thank you all. I appreciate all of the kind words and the sentiment and the expressions of support that you've all given tonight and since Sunday. I will say that at some point I will probably take many of you up on your offers of help and support. Currently, we're going to stay focused on supporting Burnsville because that's where the help is most needed. As you know, we've been providing patrol and other administrative support to Burnsville since the incident. That's probably going to continue through at least the middle of next week. Their department is completely offline, and we, along with all the other agencies in the county and in the area, are covering them for that. And the only other comment that I'll have tonight is that you're going to hear a lot of talk, and you've heard already a lot of talk about the three fallen and that they're heroes, and there is absolutely zero question that they died heroes. I think it's a shame that it took something like this for us to recognize that they're heroes, because I will be perfectly honest with you, the fact that people still put these uniforms on and come to work every day makes them heroes. It's not that they sacrifice, it's that they showed up. That happened, and hundreds of public safety professionals went to Burnsville that morning to try and solve that problem, and they're all heroes. They all deserve our thanks.
I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Katie, second by Nick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned at 8 o'clock.